I talked my way out of a ticket, you know how it is, man?
No.
You either go see you or talk my way out of it.
It's good. Everyone will rise. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you everyone for coming tonight. Roll call, Diane.
Mr. Garber. Here. Mr. Douglas.
Here.
Mr. Bruno.
Here.
Mr. Irwin is excused tonight. Mr. McDonald.
Here.
Mr. Farrell, Highway Superintendent. Mr. Tatro, Water and Sewer Superintendent. Mr. Drollet, Dog Patrol Officer. Mr. Flynn, Recreation Director. Mr. Gwinnett, Zoning Officer. Attorney, Mr. Favreau. And our guests, Bill and Carl Babbs, John Ryan, and I'm sorry,
Allison Webanero and Lauren Peru.
very nice.
And Diane Miller, Town Clerk. Welcome everyone on this beautiful day. Okay, so right off the bat, I need a approval for the regular board meeting of March 8th.
Very good.
Jimmy Douglas,
Second.
motion, Craig Burrow, second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 4 ayes. Look good, thank you, Diane, like always. So, community input, this is actually where we're going to have you guys, because we met earlier today, and of course to put it on, we had to put it on before Thursday. So we're going to put you in community input,
Okay.
and you guys have like 5 to 8 minutes, and then
Make
we'll
your
go from there.
sandwich.
Okay. Well, thank you for giving us the time. We have an idea that we wanted to share with you to hold a town market in the Hayworth Mason Village Park area. We love the community aspect of Peru, and we really love the music that happens on Sunday nights. At the gazebo, we both have young children, so we don't get to attend as often as we would like to because it's a little late for toddlers, but we love the community engagement part of it. And so we thought it would be really nice to create a town market one Sunday a month from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m.-ish. So the market would then kind of flow right into the time of the music at the gazebo. And we thought the Hayworth Mason Park would be a really lovely place because it's such a wonderful resource for our town, and we find that you just really want to be there. And so after this very trying year, we thought what a nice way to celebrate community and to celebrate getting together with our neighbors, and also give our creative and hardworking neighbors the opportunity to sell some handmade or homegrown things.
Did you say one Sunday a month?
Yeah, at
Yeah.
the end of the month.
We were thinking
The last Sunday of every month was our idea.
just because it's a new concept and it might not be well received, or maybe it will be, but yeah, so we just thought that would be like a nice way to kind of roll it out, and we put together a little proposal for you to look at. And
Thank you.
you're welcome. If you want, I'm sorry, I only made enough for the
Important people.
the board, but with Mr. Irwin gone, there's an extra.
Yeah.
He's your backer.
Right. So we kind of just put this idea together because we have a couple of things that we need to ask of you. Like, the parking is an idea that we kind of, we just thought might work. But obviously we would need town approval, and we also need to bring this before the planning board. So if you like this idea, then we have a authorization form for you to sign for then us to bring this idea to the planning board also. Yeah,
Yeah, we met 2 hours before the meeting, and we went over with Bob what they would have to do. We talked about parking. There's a lot. I mean, obviously it's a new idea at the beginning of this, so they can get it on in May meeting. And the parking is our biggest concern at this point in time is parking. You know, we're down there, we knew 3 weeks ago, we talked about moving the summer concerts, not necessarily this year because we're trying to figure out how we would get a stage and all that kind of stuff down there. We talked about it here, and I think it's still a great idea to get that down there eventually. And this would tie in perfectly with something like this. Our biggest stopper right now is we're looking for parking, and you know that's where we're at right
I
now.
think we have issues with parking anyway, because I've been down there on a Saturday, Sunday where that little circle is packed.
Yeah.
So, and we did talk, you know, talk a little bit about it with Mike, you know, maybe a possibility of making more parking down there anyways, if we do the concerts down there, because we're gonna need more parking anyways. And this wouldn't go hand in hand with the concert at the same time, because I think with both together would be way too much even if we had more parking down there. So, but if, you know, there's way, I mean, there's other things, as we all know, I mean, people park along the streets for the gazebo right now, I mean, all the way down every street, so, I mean, even some people that could walk, and not everyone can walk down there and stuff like that, but some people that could walk, you know, that would venture down if there wasn't enough parking, so. That's our biggest thing is what we talked about, you know, before this meeting, with Bob, is we just got more ideas with parking. There's a couple different things, one of the vendors that was in, was it Kelly Orr?
Yeah,
His daughter is the one that had one of the ones at top, so maybe, you know, we're just throwing out ideas earlier. You know, maybe she could join with all the vendors down there and
is
have
she
more.
still around?
And then,
Because they all moved to Florida.
yeah, they still own tops, so they own tops, so, you know, see if there's a, you know, see if they could use any parking up
He
there.
sold the car wash on Route 3.
Yeah, he still owns the tops, so, yeah.
I don't think any of the kids are here though, I think everybody moved to Florida.
Well, somebody's got it here.
The concept is good. I mean,
But-
Yeah, I love it, man.
Awesome.
You know, I think it's absolutely great idea, we just, you know, the parking is where we just gotta talk a little bit more about it and figure out, and like I said, you guys got some people you're gonna talk to too,
Yeah,
because that's gonna be the planning board's biggest question
right.
in, you know, in 2 months.
When do you need the authorization form signed?
By the 15th
Of
of
next
April, yeah.
And that way they can be on the May meeting for the planning board.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Mel had no problem with it at all. I talked to Mel 2 nights ago about it, and I'm sure I think he said he was calling it. He had no problem with it either, you know, looking forward, trying to see if we could make it happen. And I did call the insurance company today. I talked to Christy Johnson, and she's gonna talk to another lady, because that Davis is on vacation again. So, to make sure, like I was telling them, if the insurance goes up, it's gonna be like a event permit kind of thing from the insurance. If the insurance goes up, like I told them, that would have to go on to the vendors, you know, if our insurance goes up. But Christie said, let's see first, because it might be just the event thing, permit. Yeah.
And you would go before the planning board, Bob, I mean,
So again, Randy did it, it's the parking, you know, and it's not just it's also the parking for the vendors, right? I mean, and the attendees, of course, but, provided they can provide the parking, I think the planning board would be happy with it, would be, you know.
How many actual spots do we have down there too?
Guys, I'm not.
Ten?
Nah,
that? We got more than that now.
Yeah,
Really?
Because we extended it
Right,
last year, or the year before.
how much could we park down there according to your mind?
That's what we just asked, I don't know.
No.
see,
I know we extended it 2 years ago, we added more. Probably 20 cars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be nice
yeah,
to
yeah,
have.
probably.
I would say about 20 cars right now.
Yeah.
But people could still park on the street, walk down like Rich said, walk down by, you know, the river, you know, the trail where it goes there.
Yeah, how are the vendors willing to like drop their stuff out and move their
Yeah.
Yes,
cars?
that would be an expectation of them, so that would be part of the contract that we would have them sign to be a part of the venue, is to lay out those things once we clear them up with the town and with the board, you know. I think that that's pretty standard anyway for most, that would be a new concept for a vendor, I don't think.
Right.
Unload, get your stuff, and then, you know.
I know we've also talked about maybe providing an additional porta potty there. Or, is there two down there, or is there one down there?
One.
There's just one, okay. And then, of course, the garbage, which you folks said that
We already talked about the garbage, that
Yeah.
their vendors, if this will all work, which,
anything generated.
whatever they bring in for garbage, their garbage pails, they take out. You know, we aren't gonna take on the expense of the trash after. Yeah. Any other questions before we?
The only issue that I can see that might arise is that they want to do it before the concert, leading up to the concert, so you're going to have people coming down, parking, going to the vendors. And then the vendors are going to want to be packing up to get out of there as people are coming down to listen to the concert. So you've got a lot of stuff going on in a very small time frame, at the very end.
Absolutely.
That's the only issue I
And
can.
we can juggle the times, I mean, if we have to make sure.
Mhm.
Yeah, I would rather say something, I agree with that 100%, or maybe you guys would have to close at 5 and be out of there by 6.
Mhm.
Sure, yeah,
Something like that, you know,
Yeah.
or 5:30, whatever.
And like I said, if we can get enough businesses that say, hey, they can park up here, I mean, it would be wonderful to see something like both together, but
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah, it
this-
would be.
what the situation of the beginning of trying to figure out parking, to put both together could be.
But we won't have that stage, do you think we'll have that stage down there this year?
I got a couple of people, but the problem is, as we all know right now, with wood and everything else is unfortunate. You know, that's the problem, and to even get that kind of, that kind of wood. I don't know if it'd be this year on that.
Yeah,
This year, I would
May
like to
not be
see
this year.
take off, but the concert stuff might not take off at all this year, but we do, as we know, we got some maintenance we gotta do at the other place for this year. Now,
oh, yeah.
That might be good because
At the
you
same
could
time,
get your
yeah.
growing pains out and find out how it works and get the kinks out of it.
Yeah.
We're having some growing pains.
Yeah. Carpal tunnel.
John, did you have something?
I got a couple questions. Any news on Orchard View at all, Bob? Nothing? Nothing.
We're still dealing, of course, with Army Corps engineers and John.
No news.
Nothing, no, sorry.
The other one, I understand the town's going to get a fair amount of money from the feds on this rescue. What will be I'm sure you haven't decided what you're going to do with it yet. What will be the process of deciding what to do with that money? Or what kind of a notification have you received, I guess?
We got a notification by the, more or less it was posted, what you guys posted when you seen it in the paper. That was the first notification. And then we got papers here,
It's right here, John,
yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
the whole explanation.
The American Rescue Plan, it's on number 7. Yeah. And we made a lot of phone calls since we heard of this, which it came through the newspaper instead of directly to us at the beginning. But the thing is, we don't have exactly explanation of what you can spend on 100%, exactly. Because we've got maybe sewer, water, but then if it doesn't benefit everyone in the whole town, there was a lot of questions, so. But number 7 it is on.
Okay, I didn't notice that.
Yeah,
Okay.
number 7.
Can we just go back to this idea real quick? I don't know that. Other than permission from the town, do you guys need anything from the town other than just be okay to do it?
I don't think so.
Okay. Do we have no power hookups?
Not at this point, no. I think
Anything
that
food vendors also?
we were considering.
Okay. I just don't know if there's a separate permitting requirement for food. I'm just going back to my days
Health
as mayor.
department, you gotta have to deal with the health department.
Okay.
Yeah, they will make a spot check.
And that's, yeah.
Now, is that typically, if you mind me asking, is that typically though would fall on the responsibility of the insured food truck, so that they would obviously need?
They should know what they need.
requirements?
Yeah, you're gonna want to make sure that whatever they need to have to operate, that the town gets a copy of, that you guys get a copy of, but they should all, any reputable food truck or vendor, or if the quality wants to come to our tent down or something, they don't know what they need to do, just make sure you get a copy.
Like the dog father, he's in Peru, I think at least once or twice a week, which is, part of John Ruff's son-in-law. He does very well with that, obviously, he has a permit already through the health department, has it.
Yeah.
But does our code say anything about how many parking spaces? Is it broken up?
Not for that now.
Okay, that's
Not
what
for
I'm
that.
saying. We probably don't have it based on vendors, so it's just
No,
gonna kind of be
no.
more. like what everybody's comfortable with, basically.
Yeah, and I mean, hey, looking at this and if, wouldn't we all love to have, you know, a great thing happen and wish we had more parking, you know, I mean, that's a nice thing. So I read the definition of farmer's market from our zoning code. It just says, an organized gathering consisting of multiple individual vendors, in quotation, they're common, mostly farmers, who set up booths, tables or stands outdoors or indoors to sell produce, meat products, fruits, and sometimes prepared foods and beverage to the general public. I know these, they're also talking about, you know, crafts and stuff like that, but there's nothing even close to the definition that, other than what we propose as farmer market, so.
So we kind of feel we fall under the farmer's market,
Yeah.
even though we probably will not have mostly farmers.
That's what
Well,
we're
but-
supposed to,
yeah.
but then again, when,
Well,
how,
in your
right.
blood,
there's still
guys.
so many unanswered questions.
Right.
Peru.
That's what happened. But, you know, the idea is to be kind of inclusive and let any sort of maker, jewelry, woodworker, whoever wants to, potter,
A maker and a grower to support kind of that.
right, handmade, homegrown, let people have an opportunity to
Any hairdressers?
maybe.
I'm sure they'll want people.
So do you have like maybe 20 vendors now that you have talked to?
We've talked to a number of vendors that we think would be very interested, and we didn't want to jump the guns though. We didn't want to kind of line people up without permission from the town.
Right.
And when we were forming this idea in our head, we didn't know we would need planning board approval. So we're still going to wait to line people up, but we would like to start kind of getting, yeah.
And in general, reach out, reach out to some of the local artisans and like small growers in the community. We have an input of about 50 vendors that were interested, so not to say that we're looking to maybe be that big to start by any means, but it's nice to know that there are actually that many people that are interested in participating. Once we have more information to be able to provide to them, so we kind of have to leave this out first.
Good news is Mike's got a new paver, so he can put a new parking lot down.
Not easy, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Perfect.
Okay, so.
Any Italian ice going on down there?
We're starting small.
I think it's a great idea,
I
like
do
we talked
too.
about, and, you know, something to get people out, even on a non-year of like it is this year and last year, just to get out, you know, anything. And to utilize that park more, and that's what we talked, it's funny, 3 weeks ago we talked about doing a concert, and then you guys sent me an email, and here we are.
So Bob, it's gotta go from this board to the planning board?
The authorization for, obviously it's on town properties, that's why the planning board's gonna say, well, you know, so we get that sign and then, but they'll get an application into us by April 15th. And we'll make sure it's a complete application. We've talked already that we'll certainly work with them on a site plan.
Okay.
Yep.
Any other questions real quick? We're gonna move on.
Great idea, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you very
Great
much.
idea.
Okay, moving on, number 6. Discussion and resolution, acceptance of the public employees health emergency plan. We had a workshop meeting about that. We talked to Tim, he did up our plan, and basically, resolution to accept it now.
I make a motion.
Rick made the motion,
Second.
second by Jim Douglas. Any discussion other than every town had to do this, and they had to have a plan in place, and, okay.
Resolution for the public employer health emergency plan for the town of Peru. Whereas on September 7th, 2020, the governor signed Senate Bill S8617B into law requiring public employers to develop health emergency plans for the protection of employees and contractors. And whereas the town of Peru fully supports the health and safety of our employees and contractors, and whereas the plan supports continuity of operations of the town of Peru, and whereas the plan was developed collaboratively with several officials of the town of Peru, and whereas the plan has been developed to meet the requirements set forth in the aforementioned law, and now therefore be resolved that the town board of the town of Peru approves the public employer health emergency plan of the town of Peru, and be it further resolved that the town board of the town of Peru authorizes the Supervisor Brandy McDonald to sign the plan, putting it into full force and effect in accordance with the law and the provisions identified in the plan, and be it resolved that this resolution shall take effect immediately.
Quick discussion, as Tim said, anything in this plan, we can change as a board at any time with the situation of how, better or worse or good or whatever, we can change anything in there if we need to as a board. I mean, it was well written, he's going by the guidelines, he worked for the, state and the government, so. Roll call.
Mr. Barber?
Yes.
Mr. Bruno?
Yes.
Mr. Douglas?
Yes.
Mr. McDonald?
Yes. Okay. Moving right along. Number 7 is some paperwork on the American Rescue Plan COVID relief bill. This is the most up-to-date that we have. The supervisors are still trying to get together. Mike Cashman's still trying to get more information as it comes along. Joey Jones' office is still trying to get more information. Obviously, it's a lot of moving pieces that all have to come together. And as it says in here, it's only an estimate. That 760,000 is only an estimate. There's no, it's not guaranteed up or down. But here's some more information.
I hear it's gonna be a debit card.
What's that?
You gotta get a debit card.
Who knows? Who knows? Sure, we don't. You may laugh, but we don't
As
know.
long as we get it, who cares?
Yeah. There's also other things in
Haven't
here.
said it to my house.
Funds to be spent. I mean, how things can be spent. They get into so much details in here. It's mind-boggling because there's even talking about people that are eligible in the town. They can make $13 more an hour through this money and stuff like that. If you read on to the second page, about $13 more an hour, cap at $25,000 per person. So, like I said, there's so much that there's so many more answers and questions. There's probably probably 100 more questions than answers that we need. So until we get more, as soon as we get more, when we get more, we'll keep pouring it, and if we get money in the accounts, we'll just start letting people know if we, when and where and how. Okay?
I'm surprised it says that we can invest in water and sewer.
I know, because when.
I'll take it all.
Well, the thing is, that was our question, because we talked about it all the time.
That's right.
We talked about it, put it right down there, but then, what happened, went to Mike Zerlon. Mike Zerlo went to Mike, and Mike said, you know what, we better make sure, because that doesn't benefit the whole town.
Right.
There's only like
That's right.
800, 900 people, so that went to the higher up, but then again, I have not heard anything since, that's been 2 weeks now.
Right.
So, it kinda like stopped, because I think they didn't know the answer.
I'll put a water fountain at the park, anybody can come get a drink.
So, but like I said, there's a lot, there's a lot of moving pieces that's gonna be a confusing bill. Well, money. Either you're happy about getting money, but then again, you gotta make sure you go by what you can. And this is, like I said, that's the latest we have. Any other questions on it, other than that's what we have? Okay, move along. Discussion. Use Johnson's Control or Alltech installer for the fire alarm system inspections. You have that inspection once a year. I believe, actually Diane's going to tell me exactly what Pam told her. And we always had Alltech, and then they stopped for like a year or something. And
Pam said that Altuck, does the board want to go with Altuck, which is the original installer, to the town hall, and I do know that they just inspected the court, because I just put the bill through and it's sitting right there to be paid. Or do you want to go with Johnson Controls? And Johnson Controls for the water department is $414 annually, and for the highway garage it's $516.
you guys, Mike, Courtney, you guys have any say on this, that you want your input on this?
And that's for the fire alarm.
Alltech for those.
Johnson inspected them according to this, right?
No, that's the cost for if they do.
They've been coming to inspect.
We don't have
There's no
a price yet from Alltech.
There was, I think 3 years ago, we actually got 3 prices, and they were the lowest, and they just started doing it, and then they've been doing it ever since.
Johnson.
Johnson. Yeah, it was Tyco back then, and now it's Johnson Controls
Yeah.
or whatever.
And we don't have a price from Altech yet anyways, but she just wanted to give us the both option. I mean, we're only talking $407 annually and $500 for Mike's and $407 for Courtney's. But
And the alarm system was $360.
$360 for the core.
For the security.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's
Yeah,
really
they
good.
come and test all the devices.
That was all tech.
They come out and test all the devices
Right.
and certify that they're working.
And you said Johnson's done it for the last couple of years?
Yes.
Okay.
With
So,
no contract,
What's that?
with no long-term contract, or they
Yeah,
just keep coming?
I don't know what the original contract stated.
Okay.
it looks like it's a per year contract. But the thing is, I mean, if we've had them for the last 2 years, my suggestion is, we got a price from them. It's right in the park where it's been for the last 2 or 3 years, money-wise, you know, it's the same thing they're inspecting every year, so it's the same amount. My opinion would be stick with Johnson Controls.
I'm fine with that.
Because I've done it for the last couple of years and we got a price from them. It's
Yeah.
up to you guys.
No, Jackson's
I'm
fine.
fine with
It's
it.
been
You
good.
guys were fine with them?
Yeah.
Mike, you were, you weren't?
No, I'm fine.
Okay.
So basically what we will have done then for next meeting is a resolution saying that we're gonna, you know, give it to Johnson at the 400 whatever it was for the water and 500 for the highway.
Yep.
Okay.
Good.
What about the town hall? Town hall needs to be done too.
Yeah, we have them included in there, but they did yours and highway and
And what
they
about
just,
the court?
the courts they just did. But, well, who just did the courts?
That was fire,
Oh,
that
okay.
was,
Security.
security alarm, different than fire
Fire
alarm.
marshal will have to put that out to bid?
Isn't that what we just did? You didn't put this out, but?
They sent a proposal, Pam asked for both prices, and they gave us that price. Johnson's have been doing it for the last 2 years. We haven't got anything back from Altech.
You sure the court, you didn't pay the yearly fee for the security system?
That's what it was.
Yeah, so that's not an inspection, that's a
We don't have it.
yearly
Yeah.
monitoring fee, remote monitoring fee
Oh,
for
that was
security.
well.
And 500.
Okay.
Yeah, no big deal.
Like Matt said, we don't have to put this out to bid for that, under that amount.
I heard the numbers wrong, sorry. You're good.
Just thinking 40, 50,000.
Huh?
We're good. We don't
I
have
don't give a
to
care.
put it out to bid. So anyways, so
Community-
by next meeting, we have it, or Johnson Control will do it for that amount. Any other discussion about it? Okay, number 9, set date for Velcor and wastewater treatment sewer workshop. Courtney, what are we thinking?
Says April 26th, and
Did they give us? Hang on.
April 26th is what I have on here, is that sound right? That's before our second board meeting of the month.
more than an hour.
Greg Swart was aiming for April 26th.
Yep,
Yeah,
yep.
Stated he had quite a bit to go through, so probably would like to go longer than an hour.
So you guys can all have one here, I mean, I know I can.
Or wait for a non-board meeting night, this is other,
You think 2 hours?
I would think that would be plenty.
Can everyone get here at 4?
Hey,
Can you get here for 4?
can't guarantee that.
I know I can.
You're self-employed,
Bunch
you
of
your own
work.
schedule.
I mean, if, you know,
So,
I know that's your.
even if you come later, you come later.
Yeah,
at
yeah,
least you
whatever,
can-
maybe we're for, I'll do
Okay.
the best I can, but.
Okay, so let's, so I need a motion to,
Set
set up.
up, we could make it out a different night where it's not a board meeting and not have to worry about it.
I'm flexible either way.
Doesn't matter. If it's only.
Was there any other nights that we gave you?
Well, he just put that they would be ready for the meeting, they would be ready for the meeting end in April, beginning of May. So they don't want to go sooner because they have to prepare stuff. So the end of April, beginning of May is when they would like to do it. He didn't,
Alright, just go there, I'll do what I gotta do.
We're gonna stick with the 26th.
he said he wouldn't be able to do the 27th of April.
Yeah.
So
Let's stick with 26th.
We'll see you.
Okay, so I need a motion to have a Velcor wastewater treatment sewer workshop on April 26th at 4 p.m. before 6 o'clock town board meeting. Motion, Jim made a motion,
Second.
second by Rick. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Bruce, you good? Aye. Okay. So we're good on that. Number 10, the 2020 CHIPS funding, Mike.
Yep, we received that last week. Bank scholars been here, they got a bunch of money. They were trying to figure out what it was. It was the paperwork got missed with the deadline for the December payment. So this is the spring payment for CHIPS from last year. It was a disaster with the pandemic, with the CHIPS reps, and they took the 20% and get paperwork back and forth. And as I said previously, I've already talked to Carleen. What she was doing was holding everything all year and then turning it all at once. But what we're gonna do, as I pave a road, we're gonna get the paperwork and get it in, let it sit in Albany. And do it that way, then she's not trying to rush and get everything in. And then one of the vendors helped us up, cashing the checks and stuff, and getting us a bill on another job. So we think we got it up. It should be ironed out for this year. Hopefully this virus goes away and everything will be a lot smoother.
$222,079.79.
Yeah.
How much was it?
$222,000. Yeah, 222079.79. So
Thank you.
$222,079.79.
Plus a piece of that 780,000, don't forget that. Yeah, you can't have it all.
Yeah. Who knows? Okay. Anything else, Mike, on that?
No, unless you want me to go into what's gonna happen again on the CHIPS.
Yeah, sure.
We got a letter, they have assembly and the state have passed, they put the 15%, I believe I mentioned that last meeting, back in.
Back in.
Since then, I've got another letter through the executive committee, they have added the 5% that they were gonna hold.
So the whole 20.
So we may, I'm not, like I said, there's no promise that'll work, it's still gotta be negotiated with the executive branch, which is Governor Cronin's office. And also the 55-25-year bill has passed the Senate and the Assembly. Again, it's gotta be negotiated with the executive branch. That does happen. I got one, possibly two, that will affect, I don't believe it affects anybody in Courtney's garage. But some of these superintendents, I know that are also is talking with them in our association, and they're gonna block it, that comes through. But there's no details how that's gonna work, so that's where we're at right now. I got a executive committee meeting, April, I think in Syracuse. Maybe we should know more by then. But it's changing, every day it changes, so you never know.
Right? Thank you, Mike.
Thanks, Mike. Yeah. Number 11, sewer project update for me.
Everything seems to be moving along pretty quickly. Reichenberg's been up in the area quite a few times. They've had their surveyors up. If anybody gets any questions why there's stakes and flags in people's yard, they're for measurements off. Actually, I was going to talk with John, maybe doing a story, because there will be a lot of disruption on Maiden Lane, Elm Street, in front of Stewart's, the dentist's office, all in North Bend to the sewer plant. Try to give the public a heads up that some roads will be shut down for through traffic. But from what I know, all their paperwork's been going in good. They've been moving equipment in already. And the rural development, I think, finally approved everything, so the pre-construction meeting will be coming up, and they're hoping to start the first week in April on the project.
Good.
We have a few more trees we gotta go. We didn't clear quite far enough in a couple areas, so we're going back tomorrow to work on that, get that all ready for them. It's not in their way.
I had a couple of concerned apple growers ask me about the intersection, if it's gonna be cleared.
Yeah, there shouldn't be anything, I was talked to about that too. There shouldn't be anything in the intersection. They're working back on Elm Street. They're directional drilling under the intersection, so
Okay. So
there
they're
really
not,
shouldn't be any disruption in the intersection by the bridge.
okay, great, thank you.
Yep.
Don't wanna bruise their apples.
Okay, cool. Moving right along then. Okay, we're down to other business section. Rick?
No,
Jim?
I'm good, because you got that covered out, you'll cover that?
I didn't get anything with that one.
Oh, you did? Okay. I sent it
Give
to
it
you,
back.
well, it doesn't matter. I talked to Adele, and she actually sent a picture again. She's sending another letter to Don Swain. She
Yeah, I was
has.
in that meeting with the girls and then
Oh,
they went right to this.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
So, you know, she's trying to see if she can work it out with him, because, you know, you're suggesting that he's not into, you know, putting something and then he's focused on developing it.
Right,
He's gonna-
can't blame them, you know.
No, I don't blame you either. So she's going to, she put another proposal up. You know, she's just trying to show it, and she had a good point. She said, you know, she put in a little note that she sent to me that she was gonna send to him. She said that, you know, like the school does use that trail for the cross country and all that.
Yep.
Because we're trying to get him to, you know, get more excited about it. That's where we are there.
Thanks, Jim. Diane?
A message from Pam, files will be installed at the town hall on March 31st. Chad Morris will be here, the IT from Fireflight, AKA Prime Link, for that, so I think everybody will be happy about that. And then Judy and I attended a webinar on archiving and retention schedules for court records in the new LGS-1, which became effective January 1. We decided to contact Alvin Stevens, as he 10 years ago came to organize the records, as we wanted to get input and knowledge on this craziness that's going on. So he recommended, and his wife is his working partner, to come and recommend and evaluate steps to be taken to have the schedule current and up to date. They're qualified to access, give recommendations to have our town be current and compliant with all the records according to New York State. And I'm asking the board if they can come up and give us a recommendation, give us a price, give us all that. It is a minimum price of $5,000 if we do have them do the job. He said that there is grant money. 10 years ago, it was a grant that did it. And I guess I can't stress enough how important it is. Between the court records over at the courthouse and here and downstairs, it's truthfully a mess. And to put, and then cross over with the LGS schedule. I just think that if we can get it done, and if we can get the approval for the money, and it's reasonable because nobody's tighter than I am, then we can keep up with it, with the rotation of destroying, you know, all that type of thing, because retention schedules are every 6 years, or every 3 years, or every 5 years, or every 10 years. And even with the court, that's how it works. I mean, Barbara, his wife was, I mean, we talked to her for like over an hour on Friday. And she worked for a lawyer and she did all this. This was her expertise, was actually court records. So, if I may have permission to say it's a goal for them to come up and at least evaluate the situation. They may say it's gonna be $25,000. Well, we know.
What does it cost for them to go?
You know, I have a feeling that I don't think it's going to cost anything, except maybe dinner at my house.
Where are they
and I-
at? Where are they?
They are out in the Rochester area, but they have a camper, and they said
Right,
that
he's
they.
the one that came in the winter.
Yeah, they came,
Yeah.
and he said that they wouldn't even charge, if they had a place to put their Winnebago, they wouldn't even charge for lodging, if they could put their Winnebago someplace.
In front of the library.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Got free
So-
Wi-Fi.
Free Wi-Fi.
And she said
You'll have
that,
to get that other van up.
she said it's an hour a box. It takes an hour, she said how they do it is it's an hour a box.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to allow Diane to.
I just think that-
Absolutely.
I mean, she spent this much time on this and.
Sure, it's really important too, it's definitely important.
Yeah, so.
And he did a great job last time he came up,
He
or
did.
whatever, it was 10 years ago, whatever it was.
Just done a
He's
while.
coming to do he's either doing the city of Plattsburgh, he's done the city of Plattsburgh, or the town of Plattsburgh, and that's when he threw in the grant money, that he might be able to get some grant money for reimbursement.
Yeah.
And, you know, I
They
said,
did a great job last time this year, and I want to say I was like 8 years ago, at least
yeah,
8 to 10.
8 to 10. I was thinking 10. I was
And it
trying
could
to-
have, it could
I was
have.
trying to find the paperwork.
When did he say, Diane, he could come up?
I bet you he would be here Thursday if I call, I bet you he'd be here Wednesday if I called him tomorrow. I mean,
I just
that's,
think it's important enough, Diane.
I mean, because they have to evaluate it too.
Yep.
And then in return, Maria, my bud with the New York Archives, that is a different section, okay? She's just been very kind and helpful and supportive. And I want to invite her up and have her come look at our archives. Because I just think that it's amazing the calls I get for people wanting certain things or whatever, just with the, you know, but then just the look of organization, so we don't look like a rat, you know.
Absolutely.
Because she's making this look so it's organized.
Absolutely, make the job, somebody
Just
else.
did it.
Doing a great job.
So we got a motion, and so we got a motion from Craig, second from Jim. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
It was July 2011 when you did it.
There you go, 10 years.
All right.
It was 10 years ago. I thought it was 10 years ago.
What, you got a picture of the Winnebago in there?
I got a long story on it, I think.
Yeah, good. There you go. We got 10 years ago. Okay. Just short of 10. Great, other business.
No, I'm set, man, thank you.
Man.
Matt,
I'm good.
Bob,
For nothing.
I'm good, thank you.
Dave.
I ate more last week, took 2 in Saturday night. They were a little bit not wanting to get them out of there because what's gonna cost them as well. They do 4 tickets, it cost a hell of a lot more, so they went at the dollars today. I should work with them that way.
I tried to give you a sheet yesterday, but
Any
you wouldn't
keepers
take it.
yet?
What?
Any keepers?
For who, you?
Yeah.
I said, what, go buy your house today, there's a tractor trailer out there, I thought you were moving
Oh,
out.
man, no, they're like that. Furniture. Not good.
You had to bring it up, eh, Dave?
Thought maybe he's getting thrown out?
He wish, he wish.
Can't afford to leave. You can't afford to leave now.
Okay, I got nothing.
I even tried to give you a free sheet yesterday, wouldn't take it.
I ain't taking no damn sheep, I got a coat, that's enough.
John,
I'm good.
good. Courtney. One morning,
How many pages?
one weekend,
Forty,
actually.
how many pages do I need?
Where do we stop? Pasquale's is back up and running.
Good.
Everybody's aware. I alerted everybody Saturday on the conditions there with their sewer line that finally failed. But thankfully today we did get them back up and running, so they were able to open for dinner tonight.
Good.
The clarifier parts that we agreed to purchase last fall finally have made it through engineering and are being manufactured now. So hopefully we can get those soon to get that clarifier back up and running.
Nice.
We have been working on getting out all the old equipment in between jobs. The tree work, there was a little extra tree work we had to do that wasn't picked up in the project that I knew about. We pretty much got all that handled. We did have to bring John Kelly in to drop a few that were just too dangerous for us near power lines or something. We need a bucket truck. And he's helping us tomorrow with the really big cottonwood that's behind the community church.
No picketers?
Was that?
Nobody picketing?
No, no.
It's not remote.
I did post just on the Facebook page for now, a position for a seasonal laborer. I've only got, I think yesterday I finally got one applicant put in for it. One thing we did notice though, that the town's pay is $12.20 an hour and the state minimum wage is $12.50. So that obviously needs to be adjusted. I'd like to see it a little higher. I think that's kind of low.
Gonna be tough finding people with the.
Yeah, I think that's
We're
tough.
gonna
I
pay
mean,
20.
the county just posted one, I think for 15 something today. I wasn't thinking that high, but I think the board needs to consider
Yeah.
possibly
COVID
raising that
unemployment.
pay up.
COVID unemployment's killing
Now
us.
$13, $14 an hour, I would say.
Is that
Okay.
something that we budgeted for under a certain amount of money though? Or-
Well, I mean, I have a set dollar figure which I was paying Luke, which was more than that, but now Luke took my full-time position. So, I mean, obviously,
Okay, so the
when
money's
the money
available.
runs out, it runs out.
The money's available. okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm fine with you posting a little higher.
How
come up
much,
with a
that's
good.
still, what, 29 hours for it?
What's that? It all depends. I mean, some weeks we're 40.
Yeah,
You know, if the weather's nice,
yeah,
they're out mowing, doing whatever, helping on water and sewer stuff. You know, rainy days, I probably wouldn't have them come in, but it's normally
yeah,
40 hours a week.
yeah. Whatever you need.
Obviously, if there's holidays, they don't get paid, they don't work. You know, if I don't need them, most of the time you need them all summer though. But it's a seasonal, so it's only for a 6-month period.
And you're gonna be tied up with AEF or with.
Yeah, I mean, we're swamped now, and I'm still down on plate. I've been down on plate since December 22nd. Hopefully I have him back, I'm hoping in the middle of May. Beginning of May.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, so just whenever we can decide on that, because like I said, I am actively posted right now, looking for someone.
I'm good at $14 an hour, you guys want?
I'm good with it, because they know it's $12.50 is the minimum wage.
Yeah, and you're gonna get what you pay for. I mean, you know.
Okay. The only thing is, do we run into anyone that's been there that's close to that, then we're gonna pay someone brand new. That's my only issue.
I know none of my departments,
No,
nowhere near
like
that.
Any of you guys close to $14?
No.
No? Okay.
And
I just wanna make
all
sure,
these
because
guys-
I don't wanna have like Luke or somebody that's close to 14 and we go to 14 and then they're making 14.50 and we're starting some guy new because of minimum wage going, it's up to 12.
All your
12.50
guys should
now,
be
but-
19 or more. Yeah.
Courtney, what was minimum wage when you called?
$12.50.
$12.50.
Not minimum wage, huh?
Yeah. It's on the new state flyers they handed us.
I think it's the brand new one that because Courtney talked to me the other day or something. $12.50 to the right, Diane.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think every year it bumps up a little bit, up to the 15 eventually. Yeah.
Yeah, the federal one, I
It
think.
went from 11.25 to 12.50.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, this year.
Yeah, so 12.20 doesn't work.
No,
It's not even
12.20
legal.
Yeah, so.
I didn't even realize it till Chad kind of.
No, he didn't realize it.
I think this day
I
was
didn't know-
tires.
I didn't know
I
what up to
said, well, let me
12.50.
check, I got the stuff rolled up in the break room.
Well, he said, we were talking about it, and Chad's like, it's right there, 12.50. And it did start 2020 though.
Back on the sewer project, I forgot, DEC did come back with more comments. They want a swale put behind the lift station behind the community church to collect water and have it piped down toward the river. So I don't know, that could end up being an added cost. Right now, Reifenberg is looking at it. It's been submitted to them. DEC wants a swale along the back of the lift station over by the community church to catch water.
Yeah.
So it doesn't erode the bank, and then it's supposed to be piped, so that wasn't in the original set of plans, so that could be an added expense. But I don't know yet, Reifenberg hasn't come back with any numbers.
What exactly is a swale?
We just post
They just want a berm with a catch basin that catches water and then it pipes it, so it just can't run down the bank.
That's a great.
I don't know where the water's gonna come from.
It wasn't busted there,
They
yeah.
want,
Look. It wasn't enough.
so that's all I have.
Thank you.
So with Courtney's thing, was talking that, we do have to make a motion and a second to go to $14. So I need a motion and a second.
I'll make the motion.
I made the motion to go with $14 as a new hire for part-time for
Seasonal.
seasonal part-time. So we got a motion,
all second.
Rick second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Good, Craig?
I said aye.
I can hear it. Uh-oh. All for it. Okay,
Okay.
so we're good. Okay.
Try to be a little louder than that.
Usually that's not the case, right? Mike?
Okay, we're working on right now getting the paving equipment, it's pretty well ready to roll in a couple rollers. And the sweeping equipment is getting ready. Get our guys back from Courtney, but he's at the problem, so. Once we got that back, they're coming to line bore the loader that we got split in two right now, put the new pins in. Once that's in, as long as the weather cooperates, we're gonna start sweeping. As long as John's here, if you're in the village, get your stuff out to the road, get raked if you want it, because that run, village run is all straight salt, so it's not, they're gonna fly through the village, it's not gonna take them long, there's not a lot, so we'll try to keep you posted where we're at. I know John has sent me a couple emails on salt reduction. I've actually taken a workshop with that Lake George, probably 5-6 weeks ago now. And it was pretty interesting. It had some towns that superintendents, employees, and actually taxpayers that were against that salt reduction. And I'll be honest, I was very skeptical. After watching it, it works. They videotape that thing, it's only like half an hour. So at some point, I want to take Ricky and Mel or anybody else wants to just watch it. It takes some money to get set up. Lake George, we're lucky the state gave them a grant. I had applied for a grant last year to get some of this stuff, because you can see the way it's going. But what they're doing, they're running straight salt. There's no sand, but it's reduced. They got the automatic computerized scales, which right now we have 3 in the trucks, but they actually put sprayers on the back of the truck or wherever the salt's coming out, and it sprays that salt, so when it hits the road, it stays there. But they've cut on their budgets in half in the winter and plowing. And I was kind of skeptical because we got some hills, the Patton Run, Peasleyville, and one of the places is Hague. It's got mountains. But he said the biggest obstacle is getting employees, superintendents, and even businesses to believe that this will work. But it's weight. So your salt, you're not wasting it. Right now, we're running salt, but we honestly don't know if we're running too much. So it was really an eye opener. It's worth it. Like I said, you can see what's coming. One of the superintendents in Hague, he hasn't used sand in 3 years. He's got a sand pile that hasn't been touched. Everything's with salt, or salt brine, or it's like it takes quite a bit of money to get set up. They use live edges, which are plows, which kind of on the front, they got almost like, I want to say teeth, but it's almost like a knife. So that helps cut the ice, and that salt gets in there, that little bit of salt, and it works, and then it comes right along. The overtime, it was way down, the maintenance, so, but it's still salt, but it's just salt at a reasonable level.
Any idea, Mike, how much it costs, something like that?
No, I can give you a hint. I had talked to Tenco, that'd be 4 or 5 years ago, I was thinking of going that way, but just to put the computerized controllers in it, it was gonna be like $50,000 just to get our truck switched over. And after talking back and forth, we sat down, it's just smarter, as we buy the trucks, we get those computers, and what's nice about that, whether we use straight salt or sand mix, either way, they're all the same controller. You pick them up, they got them on the shelf, and right now we got different controllers in most of the truck, because it depends on who gives the contract, or what plow you're going with. So it's really was interesting. I was actually shocked. But they even had down in Lake George, they had the business in it, because a lot of the pollution was from businesses. Of course, if you've ever been in Lake George, that really takes out to the lake there, and businesses, of course, they don't want people slipping. So they were using straight salt, but they were just coming in with these pickups and just, blasting it way more than they needed. It really worked. So I think it's something, at some point, it's not something that's gonna happen overnight. It's gotta be a long-term situation, but I'm thinking maybe the next truck, we try, and hopefully now everything's starting to work up, maybe there'll be some more grants available to really help to get set up with, one to try before we really get deep into it. But I am at some point gonna go down and talk to those 3 towns, and I think there was a county in on it too. Sit down with them, have a meeting, and see what it really costs to get set up. So.
Because if you weigh the cost of your payroll,
Yeah.
and that too, Mike.
Well, it's, like this year, the salt's $83 a ton. And if you've been in the village, it works. There's no doubt it works. And then actually, we tried it on a high-speed run this year on the Telegraph, Fuller Road, with Lloyd's doing, because he's got one of those controllers. Again, it worked beautiful. There's hardly any sand. If it was a continuous snowstorm where we were gonna make 7 rounds, we didn't do straight salt, we put sand in it.
Yeah.
To, you know, to cut salt sand mix, just to cut back, so, it definitely worked in high speed. I was a little nervous because, you know, sometimes if that temperature is just right, but it definitely works, and we only use it when we need to. Like I said, there's a problem with the state. I don't know how many times I've come in the village and they got the salt going, perfectly dry road, and it just gets frustrating because that's part of the problem, is the DOT. It's
Bouncing
just,
down the road.
they were in on it down there, that region, so, but it's definitely, it's worth looking into, for sure. That's basically all I got.
Cool. Thank you. Anyone else? Last time around? Good. Good. Okay. Public comments on general items only.
Nothing.
Anything? Okay, we are down to 14, resolution, discussion of payment bills. I need a motion in a second.
Make the motion.
Rick made a motion.
Second it.
Douglas second. Diane, resolution.
A resolution authorizing the post audit payment of certain claims, bills, and invoices to the town, whereas the town board has reviewed and audited the following claims, bills, and invoices for services rendered and goods provided to the town in March 2021. From town approved vouchers in March 2020, 202100269 through and including 202100332, abstract dated 3/22/2021, with a dollar amount totaling $73,484.38. Of that, $13,786.91 was wired, credit cards and prepaid, and $59,697.47 is remaining to be paid, whereas the town board finds said claims, bills, and invoices to be acceptable in form and reasonable in amount. Now therefore be it resolved that payment of the April claims, bills, and invoices is approved, and the supervisor being hereby is authorized to make such payment, and be it further resolved that this resolution shall take effect immediately. Mr. Barber?
Yes.
Mr. Bruno?
Yes.
Mr. Douglas?
Yes.
Mr. McDonald?
Yes. Okay, I need a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Make it.
Douglas?
Second.
By Rick. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.